What's going on? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It looks like someone's dancing. It's dangerous. And there it is, the George Russell. We're gonna call it the Russell. The Russell.
Russell.
Do the Russell. All right. Anyways, welcome back to Hitting the Apex. It's been a long day. Fern, I spoke to you earlier. Hello, my friend. How are you? Yeah, finally.
No tap.
Unbelievable. Siempre algo con ella.
No tap.
Increíble.
Whenever I'm here, you're not. I don't want to hear it.
Hey, how about the Madridistas? One time for the Madridistas today, baby.
Did not watch the game. I was in work meetings, and I'm like 4-0, really.
Oh, screw it. There we go. Let's go. We'll ching chats today.
Oh my god!
Wow, you sold you out just that quickly. Unbelievable, this guy.
Just like that. So we had a bit of a shit show this past weekend in Australia. Well, this is going to be exciting to talk about. Because,
are we sure the race is over and they didn't throw another red flag? Are we confident?
There's some possibility that they do another one, and someone spun out. Yeah, no, it's still probably going on right now. I think by now Carlos Sainz has like
another penalty,
a 2-lap penalty at this point. So, yeah, what a crazy weekend. I don't think it ended up like we imagined. But yeah, it was exciting. It was kind of crappy as well for the Reds and for some others, but it is what it is.
Double points finish.
Yeah, double. What was yours? For the Papaya Power.
Look at this, we're back.
You know what that is? It's a run to the championship now, baby. Yeah. Anyway.
No, man, I thought of it on the spot, man. I have been so basketball focused.
Yeah, that's it. Enough of the basketball. That's it.
Oh, I got more shows coming up.
Why? For what?
Why? 3 players signed the portal, man. We got more ones coming in.
It's not news. That's not news, though, Bish. Come on, you know that.
How's that not news?
Because it's football season. No one cares anymore.
It's April. How is it football season?
It's football season.
It's actually baseball season.
It's football season.
It's actually baseball season. So
you know what the truth is for UM, it's always football season. So
it's baseball season. I'm going to Charlottesville this weekend to watch the boys play. So.
Whatever. They're pretty good too. But anyways,
swept FSU.
This is an F1 show, all right?
Is it really? Is it really?
Sometimes it is. Only when Moni's.
I mean, okay, but let's take stock of your surroundings. So you're wearing a soccer hat. Most prominently featured behind you is a UM flag. You can kind of see half of a Ferrari flag. So I feel like you have dedicated your back. Okay, now we're cheating here.
More of the Ferrari flag now, all right?
All right, there we go. All right, now we can talk F1. Now that we're more in frame here, we can now talk F1.
Yeah, let me move over a little bit here. Center myself a little bit. Talk to me, guys. I mean, what's what are your thoughts on Australia? We can start with you, Vish. Go ahead.
My thoughts are the same they were at the first race, which is they really should have penalized Red Bull for cheating, because the advantage that they have gotten, it doesn't matter what happens. Get them 10 green flag laps and they pass the whole field. Like, it just does not matter what happens. Their car is so much faster than everyone else's.
Yeah.
And the fact that they went over the cost cap to develop it is kind of messed up. Which is why last year I was like, you really need to strip titles away for that type of stuff, because the lasting impact. And now you're seeing it. Everyone said that advantage lasts forever. And there it is. And they're just that much faster that it's not even a race.
But it's almost like ridiculously fast, right?
I mean, it's especially with the DRS. Yeah, it's just in the straight line, they're just way faster than everyone else, and it's not competitive at the front.
Yeah, not at all. Well, what are let's look at the standings real quick. Well, Moni, what's your take on Australia?
I'm telling you, I'm so glad I stayed up to watch this race. Like, I was on the edge of my broadcast was lagging a little bit towards the end, so I had to exit the app and reopen it and everything. And we're watching and we're like, okay, it's fine. We only missed a couple things. No, we turn it back on. a third red flag, and we're like, wait a minute, what?
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Insane. Listen, don't get me wrong. It was kind of like an entertaining race for the sake of just our entertainment as spectators. It was kind of cool, but aside from that, it was rough. It was messy, but I'm kind of glad that I stayed up for it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I tried to stay up to the very end, and I just couldn't anymore. Every time I doze off, I wake back up, another red flag, another virtual safety car, another safety car, another this, another that, and I missed like the last, the last 3 or 4 laps. I just knocked out, but it's just it's kind of ridiculous. So let's look at the standings here. So it ended up being Max winning the race again. With though it was exciting to see Lewis Hamilton back on the podium at P2.
Yeah, the Mercedes had actual pace. It looked like I don't know where that came from.
They did. They both look good. Unfortunately, George Russell did not.
I know it's a tough break for the kid. I mean, after he pitted when he shouldn't have and went back down the field. That
was hilarious.
I mean, all right. So here's the thing. That ass. Okay, so he does a great job passing Max at the start, right? And Hamilton does as well. And he's too slow. Hamilton catches up to him. And there was only, because remember, your boy Leclerc effed up the first lap, so there went the safety car. So there was only 4 laps of green flag racing before Albon brought out the red flag. In that time, George Russell manages to complain that they're telling him not to shred his tires and that Hamilton is catching him. That, I'm not going to cuss, had the temerity to ask for team orders after he ignored them in the last race.
Well, does that surprise you, though?
He told them, you got to tell Hamilton to back off. I'm like, what? He's about to pass you. And I think, they didn't think a red flag was coming. So he pit under the safety car, and you're always going to split strategy there. You're going to have one car pit and the other one did not. But the reason they had him pit too was because Hamilton was about to pass him on track, and he was a sitting duck. He could not cope with the pace.
Right.
And then his car blew up. But he managed to whine on the radio in the 5 laps he was driving. And, A+ performance for that whiny little. Anyway. Well, I enjoyed that section of the race mightily with him whining, and then when they red flagged it, he's gonna be all pissed off. I was like, this is great. This is absolutely great. And then his car blew up. I mean,
it was perfect.
As a hater, you can't ask for much more than this. I mean, because it's one thing if they DNF on the first lap and they crash right at the beginning. It's
like the perfect recipe for you.
Yeah, but to take the lead and get that hope, and then just have it crushed. I mean, that's so much better. That's so much better. I can't. As a certified hater of this man, I mean, that was fantastic.
By the way, speaking of this man, we were supposed to get Fern on the show today, but he had to work a little bit at the airport. So, but appreciate you still joining us and watching the show a little bit, man. While you're parking,
whole crap! Look who's back.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. He already wanted to start talking trash, saying, "Yeah, let's look at the standings." All right, Jack. All right, easy now. Okay.
Fine here.
Oh boy. Yeah, it looks like the pace with those Aston Martins is for real, huh? I mean, Alonso getting back on the podium this weekend, and
See, but here's the thing, and this is kind of what we talked about earlier. I think it's just because I think it's Mercedes. We thought Ferrari would step up. It looks like it's Mercedes instead.
Right.
He spent most of the race behind Hamilton with DRS and could not pass him. That's not a good sign when you stole your car from someone else's design, because Mercedes will be able to develop it more quickly. I think they're going to start dropping back down the field. I just thought Ferrari was the one that would kind of pass them first.
I mean, yeah, the fact that I don't know, man. I don't even know what to tell you about Ferrari, because this time it's not a lot. It's not because of their strategies. It's not because they're getting things wrong on the track. They're not having great luck. They've had some bad luck. Obviously, what Leclerc did was it was just a little, it's kind of dumb what he did. I think that he could have gotten around them without pushing, without being too risky there at that point in that turn. And they were fast, man. The Ferraris had some pace this weekend. Carlos Sainz had some pace, and I know that he got that penalty at the end, but they were pretty fast.
So,
I think I think it's more about luck right now with them that they're not at the top. They're battling with Mercedes and Aston Martin.
But they're not, though. Mercedes was faster than them, and I think that's the concerning. I thought they were kind of, because off the first race,
just as fast as the Mercedes.
Yeah, he was pretty far behind Hamilton when the last of the third red flag came. I mean, I cannot believe these. All right, we're gonna talk about our friends at the FIA probably a little bit later in terms of them. We're just gonna make up whatever rules we feel like, and you guys figure it out. But I will say this: I don't think that was a penalty.
Yeah.
On the end there, when they penalized him 5 seconds for the Alonso stuff, like that's a racing incident as far as I'm concerned. They barely touched, and I think he got penalized because they thought he caused the Gasly accident, and he did not. Gasly just an idiot and didn't look in his mirrors and took out Ocon.
Is that?
That's my theory. That's my theory, because what he did with Alonso not only does not warrant a penalty, it actually didn't even matter because they reset the grid.
Yeah.
So like the only thing that actually mattered was Gasly wiping Ocon out. And I think they felt. I think the stewards, and that's why Sainz was like, "Hey, at least like wait till the race is over. It's going to finish under safety car anyway, and let me go talk to them before you do the penalty." Because I think they were probably like, he set off a chain reaction that caused a red flag. He needs a penalty,
right?
And he didn't really do that.
I don't know, man. It's just been a weird year for them already, so I don't know if they're going to have any chance of French violence. Jesus, fine.
I mean, the Alpines crashing into each other is amazing.
It's been a while since Vineheim's been around too, so welcome back, Jack Daniels, and welcome back, Vine.
I mean, you gotta love the Alpines crashing. We already know they hate each other, and then
I know that was great.
And Gasly knocking him out. I mean, you gotta love that.
Oh boy, that was. What does Tap say there?
Yeah, no, he's right. For the Alonso thing, it happened in a pit stop on lap 15, and they wait till the end of the race to penalize, then unpenalize him, and like for the Sainz thing, they in 10 seconds, just a meteor 5 second penalty, which they knew. Right. Because it was going to finish under safety car, man.
I mean, essentially, if you think about it, Stroll pretty much did a similar thing to Leclerc in the beginning, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
In comparison to what Sainz did.
I mean, more, right? A little bit more because obviously he spun out.
Yeah, it was a little more, but exactly, it was more. It was more than what Sainz did to Alonso.
Yeah, and part of this is they keep throwing red flags, which keeps forcing standing starts, which just going to lead to incidents. Mm-hmm. So why he didn't get the normal, hey, it's the first lap incident, we're going to give you more leeway, I don't know.
And I mean, I don't know if I mean, and then of course if you have to go back and restart, you're going to restart and you're going to stay in the positions that you were.
Well, that's a whole other thing. So that's not actually what the rule says. This is an interpretation of it. So actually Haas, I think it was Haas appealed, or was it Alpha? Someone appealed because the rule does not actually say reset to the starting grid.
It doesn't say you have to reset.
No, what it says is you reset to the last time you could definitively say the running order.
Gotcha.
And that has been interpreted as you had to have finished the sector. If everyone's finished the sector, you know where they were at the end of the sector. Now, the appeal, and again, I can't remember if it was Alfa Romeo or Haas, was that you can actually determine the running order because they hit the DRS line and they're checking everyone's speed there. Even though the DRS isn't active, they still check everyone's speed. So they're actually recording when everyone crosses it. So you could use that line to determine the running order. That was rejected, so they went back to the original.
Oh, I see.
Because it's just all the rule says is the last point where you could determine the running order clearly.
Gotcha.
It does not say you have to finish, and that's then been reinterpreted as the last point that everyone crossed the sector. So if they'd gotten through sector 1, it would have reset to sector 1. So actually, if Gasly didn't knock Ocon out, it wouldn't have. Or if it had happened like a few seconds later, unless they crossed the sector 1 line, then it would have reset to that. So there's no like rule that says you have to go back to the starting grid or the previous restart grid. It is kind of when they could last determine it.
Yeah, by the way, I wanted to address a comment here from Vinehype that he posted. The one that, that DTS season is writing is writing itself this year. This season's Drive to Survive is like, it's just too easy. I think the producers of that show, the Netflix, is like, oh, this is a home run with the craziness that's happened already in these first 3 races. It's been wild, man. It's been wild. So let's talk about a little bit about what's next, right? The driver. Let's talk about the drivers. Driver of the day, Moni. What do you got?
All right, guys. Let me
This is a tough one, though.
All right. Is it really for me?
You know who won the official one, so I don't think it's much of a.
Just give me a moment. This is all right. Just let me be a little basic. Let me be a fangirl, okay? For 1 minute, my driver of the day has to be Checo because, listen, he finished in P5 after what you could easily say was a very rough weekend for him. He started from the pit lane. So you know what? Props to Chiquito. And we were just able to see once again that the Red Bull car is just very fast. So I'm going to be a fangirl. I want to say that my driver of the day was Checo because I didn't think it was going to be that positive of an outcome for him after the whole weekend. So that's my take on him.
Here's what I think. I think that a lot of the drivers that ended up scoring the points obviously took advantage of the chaos that happened in the race, right? So it's hard for me to say, well, Nico Hülkenberg, of course. I mean, he's in the hot. He, scored in the top 10. He didn't. I mean, half of those guys didn't drive a brilliant race. It just happened to, fall into the points because of all the chaos in front. So
I got my surprise right.
Who's
my surprise came through. I think I said Stroll top 5.
Let me see.
You did. I did, right?
You got that right and your first place. That's it.
All right? First place. Yeah, everything.
I think I got every single thing wrong, but that's all right.
Checo, Max, Leclerc, Aston Martin's outside of the top 8. Don't you wish?
I mean, they both finished in the top 5. This is a fantastic prediction by me.
I had Max, Leclerc, and Checo, and McLaren in the top 10. Oh, yeah. I got that right. That's about the only thing I got. That and Max.
See, everyone else, like in the chat, you, Moni, everyone picked Max. So I was like, I'm going to do something different.
I know.
And I screwed our man over there, and that's unfortunate. He ended up starting from the pit lane. And, I got to use my power for good.
Fern got someone right. Fern had Max, Checo, Alonso, and then Sargent in the points. Did Sargent end up in the points?
No. He is one of 2 drivers without points on the year.
Gotcha.
So how many drivers finished? 12.
No, 15, right? It's 15.
13.
That finished the race?
Yeah, 15 drivers,
right? 12. 12.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
More, okay.
And your boy Carlos finished in last 12th place.
Yeah, he finished.
That is so sad.
It's a 5-second penalty.
That's such crap.
All right. And then Evan had Williams in the top 8. I don't think that happened. Max and Alonso, you got that right. Gus had Max and Alonso. So,
all right. So my driver today,
I'm going to take Lewis Hamilton. I'm going to take that.
That's where I was going to. The guy that no one mentioned in any of their predictions. You got to go with him.
Definitely.
And I would say he overtook Max on track because it wasn't right off the start line. He didn't just get a better start than them. He went through several corners and passed him. Then chased Russell down and was in the process of passing him when the safety car red flag came out. Held off Max for quite a bit despite the DRS advantage, and then held off Alonso the rest of the race. So that was quite the drive from him.
Yeah, it really was. So I was excited to see him back in the podium, and I think that if they can look and they did that with a car that they don't even like, right? Because they're supposedly quote unquote going to completely, scrap that car and put something else in there in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So if they do that, it could go one way or the other, right? They could all of a sudden now start to get some pace in this car and develop this car nicely, but they don't really like it anyway. So they're gonna, completely just flip the script, and all of a sudden it's just gonna be a complete shit show again. So this could backfire for them. I think that what Mercedes is doing right now might be working. So maybe they might have to scrap that other strategy of just completely scrapping this design and going with something completely different. So.
Oh my god, I missed
Jack. I know. I was about to say it's so good to have Jack back.
Well, then you're gonna be sadly disappointed, my friend, because nobody's taking water to that marina this year. Yeah. What's your disappointment of the day, Vish?
I mean, I don't want to. I'll have to do it to you. It's got to be Leclerc. I mean, what the hell, dude? Is he just like giving up on life? Like, what is this guy doing?
I don't know what the hell he's doing. I feel like he's sabotaging everything he's freaking doing on the damn.
He's always been a little bit. We've talked about this, how he needs to mature and be more responsible on track because he's throwing points away. Now he's just. It ain't happening. I mean, I don't think there's any other answer than like, dude, come on, get it together.
Yeah, it's tough for me to go with anybody else but Leclerc as well. So I mean, there's not much more we can say from that, right? He made a dumb move, a risky move. On the the third corner of the race, the fourth corner of I don't even remember what corner it was.
It was like the second turn.
Yeah, it was kind of I think technically because do they count that first like S turn as 2? Maybe, I don't know. It's the end of the second straight.
Yeah, end of the second straight, and boom. There. So it's like, come on, guy, man, you've got 58 laps. You've got a fast car. Well, I mean, at least we think you do.
Faster than most.
Yeah, but. And look, and God knows what's going to happen. Look at 3 red flags. You got to be smarter than that, man. You got to be smarter than that. I think that something's going on there, and this is just like any other sport. When it comes to psychology, man. Once your head goes, it's hard. It's hard, and maybe he's having some issues putting it together. He's having some issues throwing strikes or throwing the ball to first base. Let's put it that way.
He's got the yips.
He's got the yips. So. I think he's got the Rick Ankiel or the Daniel Bard or the Chuck Knobloch.
The Chuck Knobloch, boy, the classic one.
Yeah, the classic one. So
he's sitting there like, what are these two old people talking about?
Oh man, seriously, it's bad. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. What about you, Moni? Are you in agreement with that one?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I also have to throw in Sainz, but not because I'm disappointed in him. It's more like I'm going through the heartbreak with him. Because I'm rooting for Ferrari, believe it or not. Like, you guys have to get it together. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw that, I was like,
we're switching it up. Now that Mercedes is the one challenging, we're now going to have to cheer for them. Like, I am a nomad. I just want some kind of competitive racing this year.
I don't know
like watch this space. Whoever's like finishing second behind the Red Bulls, I'm like, all right, that's my team for next week.
Yeah, I know it's kind of true, but I just can't cheer for George Russell. It drives me crazy.
I mean, there's okay. Yeah, you're correct. We cheer for Mercedes singular, not plural.
Yeah, Mercedes.
For Mercedes.
Mercedes. Yeah, there we
go. Exactly. Oh boy, not for
yeah.
Not for whatever this is.
I guess so.
Whatever that is DNF. That's what that is.
DNF boy.
That was Karma.
That's his rapper. His rapper name is DNF boy.
Okay. Yeah, throw an honorable mention in there for Gasly wiping his teammate out. I mean, it's not disappointing; it's hilarious. But if you're actually like judging driver F1 ability and stuff, that's not good. They had double points finish coming, and he decided to wipe his teammate and himself out. That's not one that's gonna.
If that doesn't get like straight up like 3 episodes of Drive to Survive.
You know what though? I'll tell you what. He got so lucky because it was his teammate. they didn't give him. Remember, we talked about this last week. Obviously, Mona, you weren't here, but he was on the edge of getting suspended for points.
Yeah, I remember.
There is no way that incident is not a violation that gets points on your license. No way. You didn't check your mirrors, went across the track, wiped someone out, and caused a red flag. Like you get points for trivial stuff. That's caused a major accident, and they didn't give him any points because it was his teammate, and no one was complaining. And so he got away with it. He should be suspended for Baku.
I'm sure they had a few words. I'm sure they had.
I'm sure they did behind the scenes. But what normally happens is the team that was offended files a complaint, says you got to reprimand that person and penalize them because they ruined our race. They wiped our driver out, and that's when they do the investigation. And they say, yes, you have a 10-place grid penalty for the next race and 3 points on your license, and that would have been enough to suspend.
Yeah,
but obviously. Alpine's not going to appeal themselves, so he got lucky. It was his teammate, but he really should be. He really should be suspended, actually, based on that behavior. So he got lucky.
Yep, he did. All right, so the overall
maybe Gasly was. I think Ocon was fine to continue working, but
not good with you, man.
That's funny. That's very funny, Jack.
What does this do to the overall championship? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I could share it, but I think you know who's on the top.
Yeah, I think that the surprise is still to see Aston Martin up there in second place.
But actually, I guess I will share it because it's not by much. Because Hamilton is right behind now.
So Sergio Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz.
Hamilton's only all of Alonso's he's only 7 points up on Hamilton.
Yep.
That is going to change over.
Fernando's only 9 points behind Sergio. It's not
because of his whole pit lane start.
Of course, but that's racing. That's F1 for you. So, and then of course. The constructors, it's
of course George Russell down in 7th, behind Lance Stroll where he belongs.
That
is the position he belongs in.
The NF boy. It's the NF boy. That's the name.
Constructors is over, but
that's over. That's bad.
They've almost doubled him up.
Jeez Louise.
What is it, 3 races, right? Just 3 races?
And this is like...
Jeez.
That's why.
I will say, McLaren, top 5. I mean, what a great weekend.
We all thought McLaren was going to be in...
They were last before the race. Now we're 5th.
Isn't that crazy?
Thank you, Pierre Gasly, for stealing all those points from Alpine because they only have 8 points total. They were going to get more than that if he had just followed the line behind Ocon instead of wiping him out. So,
wow, man.
But everyone's got a point. Everyone's got a point 3 races in. There were years where you'd wait till like the 20th race and say, is Williams going to score a point this year? Back when George Russell drove for them, they didn't have the quality of driver they have now. So, but they've already got that point locked in. So everyone's got a point.
Nice. What else do we got? We kind of spoke about some other things here about the red flag, Sainz penalty, Alpine, the order of finish rule. What's this whole thing with Hulkenberg?
He said he got a code brown. when
this is what he did.
Well, I mean, isn't that what that means? I mean, that's what
code brown, code caca.
Because he came around the corner blind when Albon wrecked, and Albon floated back on the track and almost hit him.
Oh yeah, he probably got scared shit.
Yeah, literally, and he evacuated his bowels into his apparently.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Which I mean, look, I understand that might happen. You don't need to be talking about it, dude.
It won't be the first time, right?
Yeah, but also I don't know why he's being so open about crap in his pants.
That's funny though.
I'm so dead.
That is pretty.
It was a code brown moment, apparently.
Oh my god!
This is the biggest.
I guess the one thing left from the race is all right. So I'm curious to get everyone's take on a couple of things because Toto was complaining about this, but more specifically, but every team was basically complaining about like the rules and how they're enforced and like what 3 red flags. And it felt like the last one was really to try and like get more racing in and like almost like force. I mean, what are your thoughts on this overall thing? I know we're all like amused that George Russell got screwed, but
the truth is that they enforce the rules however they want, right? Like there's no what's the word I'm looking for? There's no continuity in how they do this, right? Like it's one race, it's one thing. The next race, it's we'll do. Yeah, sure, we'll enforce it. Oh no, maybe we won't. You know, the whole Alonso thing, right? With his penalty was either you're going to enforce it or not. You can't touch the car when you're serving a penalty. When you're on the stop and you're serving a penalty, you can't touch the car. Well, you really didn't touch the car. Look at this picture from 2 years ago. Well, yeah, but 2 years ago, I mean, you can't enforce rules like that because what if in basketball, right? Like I know we spoke about this last week, Vish, and Moni, you weren't here, bro. What if in basketball, any player is dribbling and his foot steps out of bounds and they call it a bounds? What is the head coach going to do? Hey, did you review that that game 2 years ago when the same thing happened where he stepped out of bounds and no one called it? Oh, well, you know what? Because that happened, we're going to overturn this call. You can't do that. You can't just go and make up these rules or enforce them, as you want, as you see fit, because it just messes with the integrity of the sport. It messes with, the bottom line. It messes with the driver's ability to drive with confidence that they're not going to get screwed over, right? And that's going to ruin the sport that way. I don't think it'll ruin the sport. I think that the sport's bigger than that. But at the end of the day, it's gonna turn a lot of people off. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get people to come and really support the sport when, by drawing all these people in with all these other different avenues that you're trying to, marketing, TV, yada, yada, yada. But then once they're there, now you're doing this, you're going to end up turning people off. And it's no pun intended, it's going to cause a red flag for the sport. You see what I did there?
Yeah, nice. That's why Jazz is a pro. Do you think they were, because there's been these accusations that they're doing red flags for the drama? Because it bunches the field up, everyone gets fresh tires, you do a standing starts.
What's that? Say it again. I'm sorry.
Do you think they're throwing the red flags for the drama of it and not because they actually need them?
100%. I think so. Well, I don't know about you, Moni.
I don't think so. Okay. The first one was Alex Albon. The second one was Magnussen. No?
Yes.
And the last one was France, right?
France.
Yes.
France.
Yeah. France, I think, needed to happen.
The Albon one was ridiculous. I don't think it needed to happen. The Albon one did not need to happen.
In my humble opinion, I think they took too long to call the red flag after Magnussen.
That's another thing. Right. I agree.
Yeah. Well, I think to me,
I thought
one of the issues is I think they need to figure out what they're going to do and then make a decision quickly and then make it, though. If they think there's a possibility of red flagging, I know I was definitely happy George Russell got screwed over, but it's completely unfair to safety card and then red flag it.
Right.
Like if you're going to red flag it, just red flag it. Because, and this is where Toto was complaining, is you're making strategy calls based on the rules being enforced a certain way. And when they just make stuff up, it ruins, your planning. It'd be like giving someone a fourth timeout in football. All of a sudden, hey, they can call it a timeout. Well, I just took a knee, you asshole. Like, what am I going to do? I would have done that if I knew they could call timeout, right?
100%.
It's just, that's kind of what happened to them. Like, they did the safety card for quite a bit, and then they red flagged it. To my point, it was very late. And they did it for gravel, which feels like you can, if you get a safety car to bunch the field up, you can sweep it pretty quickly. I mean, we're coming off the race where Stroll almost drove all the way off the runoff and got out of his car, and then they safety carded anyway. So,
okay. So maybe they're not doing it necessarily for the drama, like to have reset, to reset or restart, whatever the case is. but the way that they're doing it is very dramatic.
I think the Magnussen one was 100% for the drama. They're like, this race is boring. Everyone's been holding station for most of the race because most of the action happened right at the beginning and then right at the end.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think they were thinking, hey, on the previous restarts, Mercedes have been quicker off the line. You get Hamilton fresh tires. Maybe he'll pass him. We can get some drama here for like 3 laps to see if Max can pass him back or something. I think that's why, because that Magnussen one did not need a safety car.
Yeah.
The Albon one's borderline, but like they sweep up gravel all the time without stopping the entire race. And then the last one, the French connection there, you had to do it because there was debris all over the track, and actually that one definitely wasn't for the drama because it caused the race to finish under safety car.
Was there a lot of debris after Magnussen?
I didn't think so. I didn't feel like that was a safety car. I mean, I didn't feel like that was a red flag to me. I think they easily could have. I feel like they're using red flags to way more than they should be. They're really supposed to be only if there's a major safety concern.
Right.
In terms of repairing the whatever happened. And it's usually not just some debris on the track, right? It's usually like, this is unpassable. It's going to take us like 20 minutes to clean this up, not we got to sweep up a little gravel, right? And I think they're definitely being much more liberal with when they throw the red flags. So I don't think the Magnussen one should have been. Definitely the last one should have been because there's no way.
Maybe they are trying to add a little more excitement because they see that Red Bull's going to kick everybody's ass anyway, so we might as well ask.
Well, no, but I think that was there was only like 5 laps left or something on the next to last red flag, and like I think they were thinking, Hamilton might get him off the start, and then we're gonna get and then we're gonna have the faster car in second trying to pass him for the last like 2 or 3 laps. Man, that's the drama.
Kind of crazy. Huh?
Well, that's how they ended up handing Max a championship. Whoa, it'd be great if there was a shootout for a lap, and it's like, yeah, we cheated. The wrong person won the championship.
Change the rules.
Yeah, let's just change the rules. And ever since then, it's been, now they have no credibility. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's finish this off because this is some pretty exciting news, I think, whether you like it or not. We've been talking about this for a while, right? What's the FIA going to do about adding or changing the practices? A lot of them want to get rid of practice. They want to get rid of this, that, and the other. Domenicali has spoken about it a lot, and obviously the teams have had their input. Finally, looks like the FIA did make a change, right? With how practices and qualifying is going to be run, they're gonna change a lot of things. This is a significant change, if you ask me. So Friday,
this is for just to be clear, this is for the sprint race weekends.
Right. Okay. So this is only for the sprint race weekends, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're talking about on Fridays. You're talking about FP1 now, or I guess you could just call it a free practice. Free practice session, and then the Grand Prix qualifying. So they're going to do that, which. I don't know if they should have called it the Grand Prix qualifying because qualifying really doesn't mean that's where you're going to start because then you've got the sprint race. So that Grand Prix qualifying is your qualifying and how you're going to start in the sprint race.
No. That's the big change.
Oh, okay.
The qualifying is for the sprint race is now an independent event. It doesn't matter where you finish.
Gotcha.
So there's 2 qualifying sessions now. So basically, the new Friday is what happens on Saturday today. You have a practice session, then qualifying for the race.
Okay.
And then on Saturday is a whole other thing. I think they're talking about some kind of like shortened qualifying. It's not going to be the full session on Saturday, which sets the grid for the sprint race. And the sprint race is its own thing.
So they're going to qualify for the sprint race and for the regular.
2 separate sessions.
Huh. Okay.
And so Saturday is like sprint race day. You have your qualifying for it and the sprint race all on Saturday.
How do you feel about that, Moni?
No saying. I'm not sure. I love it. I'm not sure. It kind of makes it feel like it's a little bit like all over the place. It feels like a little inconsistent. I don't know. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't make the Grand Prix weekend when there's a sprint race to flow that much. I don't know.
You know what I feel, Moni? I feel like this is just my 2 cents, right? They're going to really put a lot of effort into FP1 and qualifying on Friday, and then those Saturday sprint races. They're just going to be like whatever. They don't want to crash the car. They don't want to.
Well, but I think that's the thing though. They can
Are they
crash the
gonna
car
add more
now.
points for winning the sprint race? Like,
I think the points are the same as
are you going
last
to
year.
just like half-ass the sprint race? What do you think?
I think it's the opposite now.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, because when the sprint race determined the Grand Prix start order, you have to be very careful. Now, who gives a crap? Like for example, if you're in ninth, because I think points are for the top 8 still in the sprint race. I'll have to double check that. But let's say you were in ninth last year,
right?
And you're on the last lap and you're catching the person 8. You're not going to send it up the inside and risk like wrecking and starting at the back of the field in the race tomorrow. Now you can, because your qualifying order is already determined.
I guess that's true.
So I think it'll get better racing in the sprint race because you're only dealing with the sprint race. You're not worried about, I got to make sure I don't hit anyone because I don't want to mess up my start for tomorrow. So you'll probably see more racing at the front too, because especially those guys were like, don't screw anything up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to risk overtaking. I'm not going to risk doing anything because if I screw it up, then I might end up starting in the back of the grid for the more important
Makes
part.
sense.
So by separating it out, you kind of get that one.
That makes sense.
Race.
That and also, what's up, JB? One of my buddies at work. That and also, I think that what you'll see is an opportunity to consider the sprint race a little bit of a practice session per se as well, where you can kind of risk, like you said, Fish, right? You can kind of risk some things. You can kind of push it a little bit and see what you can really get out of that car and not have any repercussions to it, right? The only repercussion is maybe you blow an engine or God forbid you crash or something like that, right? Of course. But the other side of it is, shit, if I can push this car a little bit, maybe now I can see what I have in the tank on Sunday. I know I can maybe push it if I need to push it a little bit more. If these hard compounds are going to work a little bit better than the mediums, I think it gives them an opportunity to kind of test. It'll be like your test with a little more, with a little more meaning to it. And you're right. I mean, now that I think about it, I think that's going to work out.
Yeah, the one thing I'm not sure of is like where Parc Fermé sits with this.
Yeah.
Like when do they actually lock the cars in so you can't touch them? I don't think they've really
explained it. Is it going to be after the race? I would assume. What if you have to make, you have to make adjustments, or you have to fix something on the damn car?
You're allowed to do that today if you can like prove that something's damaged or whatever. You can do a like for like switch.
Okay.
But I don't know if they're locked in like on Friday before like the main qualifying or what the rule is there. They haven't really like released details on that. Like when do they actually lock the cars in, so you have to just run that the rest of the weekend because hopefully it would be cool if they let them like touch it after the Saturday race. Like
that'd be pretty sweet.
That would be nice. I think you get better racing on Sunday doing that, but I have a feeling they're not going to do that because that's the way F1 works nowadays.
I know. Well, we've got a couple weeks before we see another race as they head over to Baku, which is, like you said, Vish, officially Europe, which is weird that there's 3 weeks off now, but. Officially, I guess now 2 weeks after this week. So, and
then I guess the week after that is the home race.
Yeah, crazy.
Are you guys going?
Nah, I'm not gonna go. Yeah. I don't think so.
I'm gonna be up here, so I'm not going this time.
Yeah, I don't think so. I got my birthday next week. The week
is Boney Russell here going or?
Boney Russell, you going to the race?
I haven't planned on it yet, but we'll see where life takes me.
Yeah. You know how Moni flies by the seat of her pants, so you know how that. But anyways, thank you guys for showing up. Sorry we started a little bit late, but we'll be back next week to talk about God knows what. Something's gonna happen.
So I mean, we still never got to my story from 2 weeks ago. We should talk about next week, which is like they're selling the old Force India motorhome for like $500,000, and I feel like we should take a collection and buy that thing.
That's some good killer stuff for next week.
Yeah, so we got to talk about that next week. It might have already been sold by now. That article's like 2 weeks old now, but anyway, we still got to talk about it. Apparently, it's still in good condition. It's in the catch is it's somewhere in Germany and you have to transport it yourself. But
Yeah, good luck with that.
we can figure out the details. I feel like if we can just clear a mill, that should be enough to buy it and transport it over to Miami, and we do the show right out of the motorhome.
Woo!
We have a professional set here, and I feel like that's the move.
Guys, let's just talk to Ethan. He'll help us.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, we'll spray paint Miller's Ale House on the side of it, and that should get you guys covered, right?
Right? He'll help us with what exactly?
We'll see. Whatever he wants to help with.
Oh, Ethan.
Yeah.
Love you.
Right, yes. And then yeah. So, by the way, I don't know if it's for our show, but you Break Will Fix is back in the sponsorship for 5 reasons. So.
Nice. All right.
So go over there and do something. I don't remember what the ad read was, but
yeah, we'll start it up next week.
But do Price Picks offer code 5 there. That should cover us.
Yeah, Price Picks.
FIVE, the word, not the number 5.
Offer code 5 FIVE. Make sure you check them out. It's awesome. You can do F1 on Price.
Oh yeah, you can do F1 on Price Picks. So definitely do that.
It's pretty cool. Anyways, Moni, Vish, always a pleasure, my friends. Go get some rest, Moni.
Much needed. I'll tell you that.
Oh boy. We'll talk to you guys in the flip. We'll see you next week.
See ya.